Hello and welcome to the Rare Mama podcast. I'm your host, Karina Hogan. I am a mom with 2 special needs daughters and also a bonus mom. I share with you my journey, my story, and other parents' experiences when it comes to divorce, dating, relationships, co-parenting, and special needs parenting. Hello. Welcome back. Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. 2025. I am so excited that I am recording again as far as podcast episodes. I have so many exciting things to get you guys just updated on. So yes, I had to take some time off for January to kind of get things up and running and to bring you guys some awesome updates for the release of some really great stuff that's happening on the Rare Mama podcast. So first and foremost, hope you guys had a great holiday. Holidays are very tough for me because, especially being a special needs mom, it's tough because the holidays for special needs parents looks a little different sometimes. So it was tough because of, some deaths that I've had in 2024 and just gearing up for all the things that I was ready to accomplish for 2025. Like January has come and gone. So super excited. And next month is my birthday. I can't believe it. I'm turning 47 years old. And yeah, I am slowly creeping up to that 50. That 50. So another milestone there. So yeah, so let me kind of update you guys on what's going on the Rare Mama podcast. So the Rare Mama podcast is live officially on YouTube. So make sure you check out the show notes. There is a link to subscribe to the YouTube channel. I got so many good things that are going to happen on the YouTube channel. So I am introducing a series that I'm dropping every single Friday. It's called Bear It All Fridays. So that's where I will read emails. I will read different stories on special needs parenting. I'm still doing a segment on fatherhood. So I'm trying to confirm a couple of guests. They're fathers. Doesn't necessarily have to be special needs fathers, but I want to talk about the father's perspective of parenting because I think it's something that is very taboo and we need to bring more awareness on. Okay, because we hear about moms, but we got to talk about those dads that are there. They step up and they are there like 100% of the way, taking care of their kids and just managing life, in fatherhood, just like we do in motherhood. So make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. I am super excited about this venture. YouTube is my favorite go-to on learning things. So I'm going to be dropping a lot of educational stuff. So of course you'll see the video portions of the podcast on YouTube as well, because those are longer form. And yeah, just super excited. So it's going to be some educational stuff. Trying to get more guest interviews as far as getting them on to the Rare Mama podcast. And maybe in the future, just to see, maybe I might have that male co-host. So stay tuned for that. So yes, so lots of great things are happening. Now, the second update I want to give you is the Rare Mama podcast is now on TikTok. Yes, I know there's a lot of controversy on TikTok. I did have a backup account just in case, because I have a pretty decent sized audience for another niche that I do talk about on the CT Educator, which I also have a podcast on that, where I talk about all the radiology, CT scan things. So that has its separate audience. So what I've taken is some of the videos that I've done on parenting and things like that and podcast episode clips that I've put on that page, I have completely removed them. So the Rare Mama podcast has its own TikTok page. So make sure you follow me on TikTok because I will be doing a lot more content there and just talk about all the special needs parenting stuff. And of course, we're going to give some love to the dads. Okay, so you dads listening, You're going to get some love on TikTok. Okay. So those are the most exciting things that are happening. And also, I have an Instagram page for the Rare Mama podcast. It was my own private Instagram page that is now public. So you can go ahead and follow me on all those socials at the Rare Mama. So make sure you guys check all that stuff out. It's in the show notes. Give me a follow, subscribe to this podcast because it keeps all this content going, and share it with somebody that needs to hear this stuff. Okay. So let's get in today's episode. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about mental health and how to manage mental health, as a special needs parent, whether you're a father, a mom, doesn't matter, and how to communicate what it is that you need with your supportive tribe, or even your partner if you're in a relationship, in a marriage, whatever the case may be. So as mothers and as fathers and as parents of special needs children, our mental health tends to suffer, especially when we receive a diagnosis, if we see that our children are not hitting the milestones, or if they're behind, or we can't get them some kind of service or some kind of therapy, or they have to have another surgery. All those things can affect our mental health, because we are so ingrained and just encompassed on taking care of all the needs of our children who require different types of needs. And a lot of times there's lacks of services, there's lack of support, there are lack of therapies, or, funding when it comes to government funding and budget cuts and things like that, which there's a lot of talk, right now with, the new presidency and things like that. There's a lot of stuff in the media that people are genuinely worried about, right? And the feeling of being drained and burnt out because you're trying to figure out how to make your child's life better. How are they going to thrive? What do you need in your home to make it more, accessible and just, environment adaptable friendly, that they can get around, and that you have, a feeding chair, or you have, a chair to bathe them. Whatever the case may be, that can really stress you out, and your mental health can suffer when it comes to that. So I'm going to be giving you a few tips to kind of work through these things, and how you can communicate these things, whether it's to friends, family, your supportive community that you have, that you lean on, whether it's other parents that are experiencing the same thing, or even, your partner, your husband, your wife, somebody that you're in a relationship with, on how you can communicate those things. So first and foremost, you have to take care of yourself. Now, a lot of people will stand up and say, oh, this is selfish, and, you're a parent and you should be, the kids come first. Okay. I'm going to tell you right now that stigma is fucking bullshit, and stop. Okay. In order to take care of these children who require different needs, you have to take care of you, because you can't operate on an empty gas tank. It's the same thing if you have a car and you need to go to work. Do you think that car is going to go on an empty gas tank? Absolutely fucking not. Okay. So you have to make yourself a priority. That's a non-negotiable when it comes to parenting. You have to take care of you first. Okay. Because if you can't fill your cup and be in a calm space and be recharged, rejuvenated, and ready to go, and making sure that you are rested and hydrated and well fed, your kids are going to see that, and it's just going to trickle down like a domino effect. So in order to take care of your children that require all these needs and all these therapies and all these doctor's appointments and all this stuff, you have to take care of you. That's non-negotiable. That is the first thing you need to do. Okay. And that is one thing that I feel all special needs parents, even parents in general, you need to take care of you first. Okay. You need to make time for you. It doesn't matter. Even if it's 10 minutes a day, where you're reading, you're sitting outside, you're going for a walk, whatever the case is, make time for you. It's super important. And I don't care what anybody else says. That is what should be happening. Okay. Because I'll tell you, if you continue to put your kids first, you're going to burn out real quick. And the stress has put more people in the hospital than you really think. Okay. Me being a CAT scan technologist, I see it every day. So you have to take care of you first. It's so important. Okay. And I know that sometimes that can be difficult, but you can make time, even if it's 5 minutes a day. Take that time for you. Okay. The second thing that I think is super important is to have open communication with friends, family, people that you lean on, your supportive tribe, your community of people that you rely on to talk about whatever it is that's going on. And if, it's your husband, your wife, your partner, whatever the case may be, because sometimes open communication can be difficult and having those hard conversations because a lot of people don't understand and don't relate to, parents who have kids with special needs. So it's super important. And talking to your partner, talking to friends and family, your community, sometimes can be very difficult because at times they don't understand, they don't get your point of view, and it could cause a lot of disagreements, right? So it's always a good thing to have that open communication because you have to make decisions. And you know what? And when you ask people, okay, I need opinions on this, to take everybody's opinion because at the end of the day, it's your decision on what you make. Okay. So open communication is so important. So important. Okay. So because those hard conversations can be really tough, but they can mean a lot and put you in the right path when you have that and you have that support. Okay. Which comes to my final tip is to have a support system. So a support system, whether it's friends, family, if it's a Facebook group with parents, that have the same type of needs that your child has, whether it's, your partner, your husband, your wife, whatever the case is. And what's also important is to really dig and find those services. I know this is a very trying time right now, but there are services and there is help out there that you can seek. Okay. Respite care. I can't stress enough when it comes to respite care. Respite care is one of the most useful things every special needs parent can utilize because it lessens the stress. You have somebody that's very neutral and can just kind of take over so you can get the much needed rest that you need. There's even respite workers that if you need to go to the grocery store for like 30 minutes, they can go ahead and make sure that your child is taken care of. And of course, there's all that interview process and you have to make sure that, you interview these people well and make sure it's a good fit and things like that. So there are services in respite care and support systems out there. There's tons of Facebook groups that you can join and ask questions. I know I'm a part of a few Facebook groups with, the C6 moms because my daughter does have a chromosome 6 deletion. It's my 13-year-old daughter. So there are support groups like that. And I found that there is just a wealth of information. There's also, if your child has a feeding tube, there's tons of Facebook groups with feeding therapy families, feeding families, G-tube families. All that stuff is such a great resource. And I know from time to time, I go ahead and ask questions, sometimes if something's wrong with my daughter's G-tube or if you're looking for supplies, there are tons of supportive communities out there that will help you on that. Okay. So my takeaways is prioritize yourself. Okay. If you are in a marriage, you're in a relationship, there's a lot of back and forth about prioritizing your relationship, that the relationship has to be happy and then the kids are going to be happy. Here's my personal opinion. I believe in that statement because you can't sacrifice your relationship, your marriage, and yes, we do have to attend to the kids. And yes, if you're a single parent and you get involved in a relationship, of course, you're always going to make sure that your children are taken care of all the time. Okay. But you have to prioritize you. You have to prioritize your relationship because the children are going to thrive that way. And I believe that statement. Some of you are going to disagree, and that's completely fine. But I agree with that because I have expertise in that, where you prioritize yourself, you prioritize your marriage, your relationship, things are going to be just great. And children are going to thrive because when they see that mom or dad are happy and this person makes them happy and that other person complements their life, you're going to have a happy family. Okay. So, and on top of that, support system, open communication. Those are the takeaways of this episode that are super important when it comes to your mental health. And always, there's lots of support out there to help you if you're struggling mentally. Okay. There's a wealth of information on YouTube, on TikTok that you can find, and even Facebook groups that you can find to go ahead and just, talk and people will listen. Okay. So that is the episode for this week. So I am super glad to be back recording episodes and got a lot of good stuff happening. Okay. So make sure that you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel. If this episode was helpful, make sure you share it with somebody that needs to hear it so I can continue bringing good content to you guys. And if you have a story that you want to share or any inspiring stories that you want to share, go ahead and send me an email. My email's in the show notes. And also give me a follow on TikTok. That is my newest thing, even though I do have a pretty decent sized following on my other TikTok page. So make sure that you guys go ahead and follow on social. Everything will be in the show notes. And so glad to be doing the show again. So thank you so much for listening to this episode. And I will chat with you guys in the next episode. Thank you for listening to this episode. If you have an interesting story that you would like to share on a future podcast episode, please send me an email at thecoparentingmama.com. If you would like to be a guest on the show, please click the link below and fill out the form. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, give a 5-star review, as this helps reach more of you parents out there listening to this show. So thank you so much for listening. We'll talk to you next time.